Hello everyone. Today we will be focusing on the feeding behaviors of ancient specimen. Today we'll be focusing primarily on the Dunkleosteus Terrelli. Specifically, we're going to be focusing on a paper titled Feeding Mechanics and Bite Force Modeling of the Skull of Dunkleosteus terrelli, an ancient apex predator. Behind you can see a little sculpture or recreation of this species. And today your presenters will be Katie, Erica, Drew, and Jeremy. The Dunkleosteus terrelli was an ancient genus of anthrodire placiderm fish. These fish were found in the late Devonian period, around maybe 380 to 360 million years ago. These were sister groups to the rest of jawed vertebrates, and they were also top predators of their Devonian seas. As a top predator, they were known to have powerful bladed jaws. This allowed you to tear your food. This can be seen in many predators in the sea today, such as sharks. How does D. terrelli bite? Well, this experiment biomechanically models D. terrelli's jaw to examine how it bites. So this means that we reconstructed the muscles, and also it was simulated the speed and angular rotation and its bite force. And here's another picture of D. terrelli to show you a better image of it.
The materials and methods. In this experiment, scientists modeled 5 specimens of D. terrelli. In order to do this, muscle casts were made. These were used to measure the muscle length, volume, and cross-sectional area. Then, they used a complex computer model to explore the effects of contracting different muscles. They contracted the muscles by rotating the skull dorsally and ventrally, opening the jaw joint, closing the jaw joint. The simulated bite force was simulated by evaluating jaw closing, assuming the prey was caught. The results of this experiment shows something unique. The D. terrelli has a very special 4-bar linkage system, and this consists of 4 different areas: the skull, the thoracic shield, the mandible, and the jaw depressor muscle. All of these are labeled on the image on this screen. The 4-bar linkage allows for the special high-speed jaw opening and high bite forces upon jaw closing that make this specimen such a special predator. So the 4-bar linkage system allowed for a high-speed opening of the jaw. The plot on the right depicts the simulation for the 5 specimens that were evaluated in this experiment. On average, the time that it took for the simulation to go from closed jaw to peak opening took 20 milliseconds, such that a completed feeding cycle on average took 50 milliseconds for these 5 specimens. This is comparable to modern fish who use suction feeding to assist in prey capture, which suggests that the D. terrelli was an early example of a complex kinetic feeding mechanism that's used in suction feeding. The D. terrelli also had a high bite force. It was one of the most powerful bites in vertebrate history. On the anterior fang, it exerted 4,414 newtons, and on the posterior blade, the D. terrelli exerted 5,363 newtons. This is significantly larger than other fish species and current mammals, excluding some extremely large alligators and dinosaurs. Finally, the high bite force on a very small fang area meant that the D. terrelli had very high stress, or force per unit area, which suggests that it was able to puncture hard materials such as cuticle and dermal bone.
So what did the D. terrelli eat? Well, the fast opening and strong bite force made by the jaw made it ideal for the D. terrelli to eat cetacean sharks, arthropods, and ammonoids, as seen on the right in pictures. The D. terrelli The jaw of the D. terrelli punctured the hard armor to consume the flesh of the arthropods, and the D. terrelli used the fast opening and strong bite force to catch and eat mobile, free-swimming organisms in the water. The D. terrelli could also consume aquatic species and fauna, and was considered the first true apex predator, or the alpha predator, the top of the food chain of its group. So a final summary of the Dunkleosteus terrelli. The Dunkleosteus terrelli has a unique 4-bar linkage system that it uses for high speed opening and high bite force. And then these two factors contribute to its ability to consume aquatic, free-swimming organisms and fauna. We want to thank you for listening and watching our video on the feeding mechanisms and bite force of the Dunkleosteus terrelli. Hope you learned something. Hope you learned a lot, actually, and hope you enjoyed it.